Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we have a 2-for-1 review for you guys. So I'm reviewing the Phorcydes PH4a and the PH4b. Both are pretty similar, but obviously different enough that they have their own identification number. So a little bit different case on the PH4b. This one is obviously has the crown on the other side. The dials are a little bit different. The Lume setup is a little bit different, but they're also very, very similar. So I'm going to compare them. I'm going to show you what has changed between the two. I think either way, you're going to be pretty happy with both of these watches. They're excellent. The prices start at, I believe, $140 and go all the way up to $210, and that depends on which strap you get and which kind of Lume setup you choose. So there are plenty of options for you to choose from. So I'm going to leave a link down in the video description. Go check out that link. That takes you right to Phorcydes.net. That's the official site. I think they're trying to steer away from AliExpress, so that'll be the place where you can get all the new releases. If you stay on there for just a couple minutes, you will see a 10% off code, so be sure to grab that. But in either case, you are getting a full 316L stainless steel case, sapphire crystal, 120 click bezel, ceramic bezel inserts, 200 meters of claimed water resistance, screw-down crowns, screw-down case backs, and both watches are powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movements. So I think they are both really cool watches. They are homage watches, but they're different enough, I think, that it kind of can get away with it. I think they're very cool. The specifications are excellent. The Lume is just mind-blowing on these watches. So yeah, you will see that in this full review. So I say we get right into it, but before we do a quick wrist check today. Wearing the Traska Commuter 38. I owe you guys a review on this one. Should be coming out pretty soon, I think. But yeah, let's get into the review of the Phorcydes PH4a and 4b. So when we're talking about the dimensions between the two, they are pretty much identical. They are within 0.1 millimeter in every single dimension. So we have a bezel diameter of 40 millimeters. We have a lug-to-lug of 48 millimeters. Case thickness between the two, 13.1 to 13.2 millimeters. Both have 20 millimeter lug width. And then on the leather strap, the PH4a wears 83 grams, and on the bracelet, the PH4a weighs 140 grams. So very similar between the two as far as the size goes. There's really no difference, and I think they both wear very similarly. So you can see them here on my 7.5 inch wrist. I think they offer enough wrist presence. I think the thickness is also fine between the two. Definitely the PH4b wears a little bit thinner, but I think either of them wear really, really good, and I do like the way that they wear. I think they're both very comfortable as well on the bracelet, on the straps. It doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to throw them on some straps here for you guys to see, and you can check them out for yourself. So when it comes to the case finishing, they're both very, very similar, but different all at the same time. So you can see here, we have the crown on the right-hand side on the PH4a, we have the crown on the left-hand side on the PH4b, and then we also have some crown guards on the PH4b. And then when you flip them over to the side, you can see even more differences. So I will show you the crown side of both of these. So here you can see the main differences. And first thing you'll notice is the signed screw-down crowns. Those are identical, 6.6 millimeters, tons of grip, and I think they do look very nice, as you can see there. But you can definitely see there's a little bit more sculpting going on the PH4b. So you can see the PH4a has horizontal brushing, and the PH4b has vertical brushing on those lugs. I think the brushing is nice and consistent. I think it's done well. The PH4b has these really nice polished chamfers that you can see here. Again, those are done nice and crisp as well. They look great. They're on the tops and on the bottom. So there's a little bit more refinement, like I said, on this PH4b. This bottom edge here is just ultra smooth and ultra soft, where this one here, it's a harsh edge, and it does feel a little bit sharp to the touch. It's not something I like to see. I would love to see a little bottom chamfer on this one just to soften that a little bit. You know, thankfully this edge does sit above the wrist, so you don't really notice it on the wrist at all, but you can definitely feel that in the hand. So that's one thing that I'd like to see them kind of change or update on this PH4a model. I think the PH4b is definitely done very, very nice right out of the box, and I don't think they need to change anything. We have circular brushing on top of the lugs for both of them, as you can see. Again, really nicely done. Got no issues with that. I think they're both executed to a high degree. The case backs on the watches, they are identical as well. So you can see here, Phorcydes PH4x Hyperglow Lume Automatique, water resistant, 20 atmospheres, sapphire glass, stainless steel. Again, these are identical case backs. I think they look good. Simple notches there to get a tool in, circular brushed, and I think they're finished nicely. There's no real sharp edges on them at all. The PH4b here does have fully polished on the bottom of the lugs, as you can see, so a little bit of a grease and fingerprint magnet, but again, it doesn't really bother me too much. It is brushed on the PH4a if you were concerned about that. So yeah, just something to note. But otherwise, I think the case finishing between the two, I would definitely say the PH4b is executed a little bit nicer, I'll say. It just feels a little bit softer in the hand, and I think it does look a lot nicer because of those chamfers. But, you know, obviously a fully brushed case kind of leans into that that tool watch that both of these watches are going for. So the polishing might not be for everyone. So yeah, it's just kind of a toss-up. I do prefer this one, but I think this one kind of flows better with the design. All right, so when it comes to the bezel action, they are identical. They feel identical. They're both set up the same, 120 click unidirectional, but the big difference is the bezel insert. So on the PH4a model, we have a fully lumed bezel insert, as you can see here. I think it looks really good. It is a matte bezel insert, as you can see here, and it is kind of radial brushed. It's a pretty subtle radial brushing, but it is radial brushed and kind of plays with the light nicely. I do like that. The PH4b, fully graduated, as is the other one, but this one is only loomed at the 12 o'clock triangle, which it's a personal preference. I prefer this one. And then this one is a countdown bezel. So we have, you can see here, we've got the 10 at the 10 position. We have the 50 at the 10 position. So just two different bezels, and I do prefer a countdown bezel. I think they function for me a little bit better. If you're unaware of how that works, you basically set how many minutes you want at the, let's say we want a 20-minute timer. You set the 20 at the minute hand, and then it counts down to the triangle. And then you can also use this in a different way. Let's say you want to leave the house at 11:50, so you put that at 11:50, and you can see we have 17 minutes until 11:50. So a couple different ways to use it. I like this bezel a lot more as far as the functionality goes. That's just me though. But the bezel action between the two, like I said, they're the same, 120 click unidirectional. There's zero play in this in any direction. It is super solid. The clicks, they sound a little on the cheaper side, I'll say that, but they're not bad. But yeah, I mean, it's just very notchy, very clicky. It sets right into place. The alignment on this one, spot on. The alignment on the other one here, just a hair off. I mean, it's just barely off. But yeah, I think the bezel action on this watch is much improved over the PH2. If you had the PH2 or you saw my review of the PH2, this one is much improved over that one. So really happy to hear that they took the feedback, they ran with it, and yeah, they did put on very nice bezels on these watches. So yeah, very happy with the bezel action on them. So when it comes to the crystals on the watch, they are both sapphire crystals. They are both box dome, as you can see here, really tall crystals. They look fantastic. Lots of distortion on the edges. Again, I think they look absolutely fantastic. You can see there's lots of distortion. When you're looking straight down on this, that marker there above the 12, that is a triangle, but you can definitely see it's distorted and kind of looks like a, I don't know, just a different shape. So there is some distortion, especially in the numbers as well. So it's a little harder to read this one, but you can see here, there's still some distortion on this one, but a little bit easier to read on it. So just something to note. But yeah, they're really good crystals, really nice and tall, clear inner reflective coating. I think they put enough layers on there where, yeah, they're actually pretty impressive crystals. They look good. They feel nice and soft. They give off that nice distortion. Yeah, they're really good crystals. I was happy with the PH2 crystal. I think this one is pretty much the same thing. So yeah, really happy with the crystals on these watches. So when it comes to the dial on the watches, they are two very different styles. As you can see, they both use those 3D lume blocks, so there's lots and lots of depth to the dial. I think they look great. This is their new lume block, so they're done a little bit better, a little bit higher quality, especially under macro. But yeah, they are great. They offer fully green lume dials, which is what I have on both of these. They offer mixed lume, and then they offer it with BGW9 lume. So yeah, lots of different options for you to choose from. I went with the green lume just because I do have the PH2 and that has the blue lume. the lume on these watches is insane. We'll get to the lume shot here in just a second, but yeah, you can just see the difference in the dial layouts. Matte black on the background. You can see the Phorcydes branding and the depth rating there. It's in this like darker gray color. You can see the white of the minute track versus the gray on the branding there. So it is a pretty subtle branding, which in my opinion looks really good. The handsets are different as well. They kind of flip-flop the arrow on the two hands, and that's, again, just a personal preference. I think they look really cool. I do like the pop of orange on the PH4b. I think it just adds a little bit of warmth and a little bit of color to the dial without being too crazy. So yeah, I like both dials, but again, I kind of prefer the PH4b dial. I'm always a sucker for an arrow hour hand, and you know, it kind of gets me a little bit confused in the head with the arrow minute hand on this one. But again, you can't really go wrong with either of them. I think they both look fantastic. The handsets look really good. You can see the handset on this one. It's really short and stubby for the hour hand, but they have to do that so it can pass by the indices. So again, just something to note. Just look how close this is to hitting those indices. Really, really close on the hour hand. And then you can see the hour hand kind of sits down into the dial, so it doesn't pass over the numerals, and then the minute hand sits above them. So there is quite a bit of hand stack height on these watches. It's the same thing on the PH4a, but again, I think they look very, very good, and I think that's part of the reason why they're going with the NH35. I don't think they could pass the minute hands over top on the with a PT5000 movement. I think the hand stack on those is just a little bit too short, so the NH35 gives them the clearance to add those really tall indices. And again, I think it's a staple of their design, and again, I think they look absolutely fantastic, and obviously the lume on these watches is just bonkers. So I'm going to pop them up against the Willard. So the Willard, I say, is always a 7 out of 10 when it comes to the lume, and both of these watches just absolutely destroy it. It's a really solid application too, so they kind of fade all at once, but I mean, they easily last throughout the night. They are easily the two brightest watches in my box. So yeah, there's absolutely no complaints when it comes to the lume on these watches. It is super, super impressive. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the movement, it is the Seiko NH35 inside. They are no date dials, as you can see here, so there is a ghost date position, but they took the time to remove the date wheel, so yeah, you don't have a clicking there. It's just kind of a dead position. So both screw down crowns, both signed, both very nice and big and grippy. First position is your hand winding. It feels exactly like an NH35 does. Second position, like I said, ghost position, but again, there's no clicking. I can't feel or hear anything there. So I'm okay with that. Pull it out to the next position, and it hacks the movement every time. And this is where you set your time. Everything functions exactly like you would assume. Nice solid resistance on the crown too. You push it in, it starts up the movement every time. And then the screw in action. It is one of those screw in crowns where it's not a clutched crown, so when you're screwing it in, you are winding the movement. So there's a little bit of extra resistance there, but honestly, the screw in and screw out action is completely fine. Picks up those threads right away, and it's the same on the PH4b too. So yeah, no issues when it comes to the movement in them. The Seiko NH35 is a workhorse movement, and again, I think that kind of allows them to use these tall indices, these 3D indices. With a PT5000 or a Miyota movement, I just don't think the hand stack is high enough to allow the passage of that minute hand over the indices. So I really do think the NH35 is here to stay. And, you know, if they're making cases that look this good with the NH35, I'm okay with that trade-off. So, again, the NH35, it is accurate and reliable enough. I've got no issues with either of these as far as timekeeping goes. I believe this one here is running at plus 6 seconds, and this one is running 1 second slow. And that's over, you know, like a 2 or 3 day window. So I've got no complaints with the accuracy on either one of them. I think they're fantastic. So when it comes to the strap options, we do have 3 different options, and I was thankful enough to get all 3 of them. So we'll start with the bracelet, because I think that's what people are mostly going to go with. You can buy this after the fact, but I think if you are getting this watch, you should probably just buy it on this one, although I do like these other 2 straps. Anyway, so the bracelet, as you can see here, solid links, solid end links. It's a 7-link bracelet, and it's fully brushed, so you can see the finishing on it. I think it looks pretty good. There's, you know, a little bit of gappage there. There's a little bit of play in the links, but that all just adds to the comfort. I mentioned before, or on the previous PH2, that this bottom edge was sharp. it's a little bit better than before. I'll say that. It's definitely a little bit better than before. We do have screws for sizing, which is nice. Those came out really nice and easy. We do have an on-the-fly adjustable clasp. I mentioned this in the previous one. I'd like to see the Phorcydes branding on this. It looks pretty plain here, but the finishing on it looks great. Vertical brushing here. We have a nice polished chamfer. There's no sharp edges on this anywhere. It's a great clasp. This is probably my favorite on-the-fly clasp coming out of China. These things are excellent. 2-button pushers there. It functions exactly like you would expect it to every single time. So really happy with this clasp. And you can see the on-the-fly adjustment here. A little bit different than other ones. You press the button and you just slide it. You don't have to press the button to shorten the clasp, so you can put it on the wrist a little long and then tighten it down while it's on the wrist. That's usually what I do, but really smooth operation on this, and I'm really happy with this clasp. It is fantastic. You also have quick release spring bars on this as well. So it's kind of the best of all the world. I mean, it's just a great bracelet, and I've got really no complaints about it other than it just is a little bit sharp on this bottom edge. That's really my only complaint, but I will say it is still one of the more comfortable bracelets that I've had. I really only notice the sharpness when I'm sliding it on wrist or when I'm holding the watch. Once it's on wrist, it stays planted. It makes the watch feel very balanced. And again, it's just a very, very comfortable watch band. So yeah, I think the bracelet is worth the price in my opinion, especially if nothing else, just for the clasp alone. I think the clasp system is excellent on this watch. So yeah, really happy with the bracelet on the watch. Getting to the other strap selections, we have a brown leather strap, which again, I think looks fantastic on this watch. And this is what I've been wearing it on mostly. It feels good. It broke in right away. I think it looks fantastic. You can see it's a little messy when it comes to the holes. You can see the glue kind of sticking through. The buckle on the watch is fantastic. You can see there, it's Phorcydes branded, nicely brushed, but just the shape of it, you can see how it kind of sits right over the strap there. So it's nice and flush. And again, it's just really a well done buckle system. You have one floating keeper, one stationary keeper. It is 20 millimeters and it tapers down to 18 millimeters at the buckle. There's no quick release spring bars. You can see I do have quick release in here, but I did that myself. So something I would like to see them add is some quick release spring bars. But other than that, that's really my only complaint about the strap. I think it looks great and I think it feels great and it's been super, super comfortable. And then the last one is an elastic strap. Really a very cool strap. You can see super sticky. So I haven't had it, come undone or anything like that. I think the texture on it is very cool looking. And it obviously being elastic, it's super lightweight, stretchy enough, but it gives you enough, stiffness and rigidity in it where I think it's actually a really cool strap. If you don't like either of those two options, this is not a bad one. I think it looks really cool. It is a little bit short for my taste, for my hands. It's a tight squeeze to get it, to get my hand through the loop. But again, it does look really cool when it's on. And this just gives you an idea of how it works. So you just slip your hand through there. That's what I was kind of talking about. My hand is pretty big and it's a pretty tight fit to get my hand through there. But once it's on, you strap it down and it's very nice, very comfortable. And again, it's pretty cool that you get this kind of loop strap that the watch is still sitting right down on your wrist. So you have nothing underneath it. But yeah, I think it just looks really cool. And again, very, very comfortable. So there you go, guys, PH4a and PH4b. Let me know down in the comments which one you would be choosing. For me, it's the PH4b. I know the kind of left-hand drive is a little weird, takes a little bit of getting used to, but having the crown on the other side does make it a little bit more comfortable. I also think the case on this one, just a little bit more refined than the PH4a. But yeah, this is the one I've been wearing, and I've been wearing it a lot on this leather strap. And if I was going to buy them again, it would be this one every single time, I think. But again, can't go wrong with either one of them. They are excellent watches, good lume, nice crystals, really cool cases, good bezel actions, all for, at the most $210 US. It's really not bad at all. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these things. So again, if you are interested, I'll leave the link down in the video description. Go check that link out. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that. It just takes you right to the website and you can pick your watch. I think that's it for me though. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.